Welcome to the DJ Insider Podcast, sponsored by Amplified Events.
It's the only podcast where we break down insider information from our weddings, experience, and advice from over 15 years in the wedding industry.
We're your hosts. I'm Mike Kane, owner of Amplified Events.
And I'm Joe Obamani, the general manager of Amplified Events.
Let's get into it. All right, well, we're back. Welcome to the podcast, Carly and Kelly, Tennis and Ramirez.
Yes.
From Sandy Pines. Welcome.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about how you got kind of started with Sandy Pines.
So actually, I got married at Sandy Pines myself back in September, so a couple of months ago. But I have a hospitality degree from Purdue University, and weddings has always been something I wanted to get into. I've worked in events myself for about 5 years, banquets, and the planning experience working with Carly was, I loved it so much. I was like, I want to stay here. So after I got married, I sent an email like, hey, if you have any job opportunities opening up, I'd be happy to help. And yeah, one thing had led to another.
Nice. Yeah, so just a great experience, and then you just enjoyed it, wanted to do more of that.
I did.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Kind of cool that you've had both sides of that, too.
Yep. I feel like that helps the process, too. I know the nerves of a new bride.
Recent, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can be able to help in the planning process. So
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Anything stand out initially from when you were planning to now that you're on the other side? That was there any kind of eye-opening moments that you had?
that is a good question. Eye-opening moments, I would say, I didn't realize how much was really going on to it. We have 39 weddings this year. Last year there were 47. So it's the same thing almost every single weekend. Bam, bam, bam. But making every wedding so special is,
And unique and different, and doing it the same thing every weekend, following the same routine, and then doing it differently. That's something that we also struggle with and deal with ourselves is doing the wedding and doing the DJing and performing, doing the same thing every week, but doing it different and mixing it up and making it unique. And I like that part of the job. I think it's fun.
Keeping the passionate, keeping the energy alive.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to go with that with every single event. Like it's the first one,
For sure.
Yeah. And I love it. It's my passion, so.
Yeah, 39 weddings is quite a few, and for it to feel like, this is, I guess other people got married here too. Like it doesn't always register, because that's good, because then it felt special, it felt unique, and now it's like your job to do that on the opposite side of things. But it's cool that you've had both, the experience of planning a wedding, going through it at the exact venue where now you're working and helping other couples get married and stuff too. Are you sharing why you're leaving, or is that still secret?
Okay. We are having a baby. So as soon as we found out we were pregnant, I shared it with my coworkers and my boss, and he was like, hire someone, because 39 weddings is a lot, and they're outdoors, and in August, that's going to be rough for an 8-month pregnant person.
Yeah.
So I instantly was like, Kelly, no brainer. Let's bring her in and talk to her.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Yeah, I remember in one of our planning meetings, we sat down and Carly's like, are you looking for a job? Well, not right now, but after I get married, sure. So,
Yeah, maybe in a month or so after we're done with all this.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Heck yeah. I think it's so cool that you guys have the kind of the experience working together as a professional and a bride, and then now you're working together as coworkers, and it's pretty cool to kind of see that. Do you have advice for her as she's learning and transitioning?
As much as I want to say, it is a dream job and everything's perfect all the time, and my advice would be to be ready for the unexpected. Crazy things happen at weddings too that are not everyone knows about during the wedding, which is a good thing, but problem-solving skills are definitely required, and quick thinking.
Yeah, I've always been told in my career not to do weddings, actually. Because at my previous job, I worked at a small little meeting meeting planning company here in Valpo, actually. Sorry, Maggie. Meeting Achievements, if you've heard of that.
Oh, cool.
And that is that's an events job that is your 9 to 5. That is, you are working medical conferences in Chicago. And that was, I mean, 10% of the job was actually going to the event.
Oh,
And I was
wow.
like, I want the opposite thing. I want to work the events. But yeah, everyone there was like, this is your dream events job. And I'm like, well, the passion hasn't killed in me yet. I'm ready to do all the social events.
Yeah.
So
Weddings is a good way to learn too, because there's just, ready or not, there's a lot of stuff, and a lot of details are really important. But I think I've done other events that aren't weddings, but I've always feel like weddings are the hardest, or can be the hardest, because there's so much riding on it, because there's so much expectation, and there's a lot of politics to like balance with the who's paying and what's important to this person, and there's a lot of people that you kind of have to keep happy.
I think yes. However, I've had some smaller gigs that have been just so much more of a pain. And not because it's a wedding where like so much weight pulls on it, but just like it's a 2 or 3 hour karaoke event that just like is so stressful because so much has gone into it, and you have like 30 minutes to set up. I've had a lot more stress when it comes to smaller events like that than weddings specifically, but there's a lot more riding on a wedding for sure.
But yeah, I guess you're right. There's sometimes it's kind of like the unexpected things, and like the customer is always going to be different too. Like,
Yeah.
because and the way they act and behave and what's important to them is different. And so yeah, the work is going to change with those things. I have couples all the time. They're like, whatever you want, just do it. I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, it's your wedding. What do you want? You know. And then I have couples who are like, do exactly this. Don't do anything else. Don't no requests. Stick to the list. That kind of thing.
I actually have a question. Do
Sure.
you like when people say just do your thing, or do you like to go off of a couple of like the genres, the big songs that they like?
I like personally to know what they want. I always say, give me 10 songs you love and 10 songs you want to avoid. And then I can take it from there. I don't like when they say do your thing, because my thing is to please you and your guests. And so I'm going to be figuring that out. What do they like? What don't they like? And we'll probably have a few songs that don't hit, because I'm still figuring out what they like and what they don't like. And also, like, there's people who are just never going to dance. And so you don't always know who those are at the beginning. You can make your guesses, but if the right songs hit, they're going to go crazy. So I don't know. It's I prefer that they spend 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Just give me some stuff they love.
And I don't need all 50, like really, like 10, 20 songs is really all we need to kind of get your vibe and what you're
Build off
looking
of,
for
yeah.
after. Yeah, just to build off. But if I have 0 songs, that's going to be a lot harder. And if you're adding 50 songs like we allow you to, that's giving you homework. Like you're spending so much time adding music, and we're fine doing that, sticking to your playlist, but you have a lot of other stuff to plan too. We'll get the general vibe, just add some there. Definitely fill out the do not play. Definitely do that. But yeah, I think that's my biggest advice. I need 10 songs and your do not plays, and we'll go off the rest.
So in your role, you're going to be doing, I assume, meeting with couples initially as they're inquiring, showing them the venue, doing kind of that sales stuff, doing the follow-up, doing some of the marketing. And then you also, when they book, then you're helping them through the planning process. And then day of, you're helping execute the plan.
And I think clients like that and prefer that. They're working with one person the whole time.
Yeah.
I worked a job where I was the banquet manager. I would meet couples the day of their wedding, and their event manager wasn't there. So it was kind of confusing for them. But now in this role, I am doing their tours. I'm at their first tasting. I'm at their contract signing. I'm along the whole way, and I think that leads to client satisfaction. And
Yeah.
that's something I experienced with Carly, and I loved it. So
I think that's also something that we even see on our end as something as little as them setting up a phone call, seeing an email from me or Mike, and then talking to that one person. And it's like, oh, I've talked to you for 40 minutes on the phone. Are you going to be our DJ? And sometimes I'm not. Like, I'm already booked, and I'm booking other DJs on it. And then we have to have that conversation too. It's like, I'm fully booked. Like, are you only booking because of me? Is it our company? And then we have that conversation too. But I do think it really helps with customer satisfaction is having one person the entire time. They know exactly who to ask, who to reach out to with any questions. I think that really helps.
Yeah, especially for the client experience, but also it makes it easier. Got to be on your end and on our end as well. It's like, oh, I knew when they were booking what they said was important to them, and then when we're planning, I was able to bring them, because you can get lost. There's lots of details. I could say you get lost on the weeds, and let's Remember you said that this was most important. Is that still the case, or has that changed now that you've gotten into planning? And how can we make this day great? What are the things we can do to help give you that moment or do what you're looking for and then avoid the stuff you don't? Have you had any strange or intense or requests that are like, oh, like any unusual or unique requests yet?
Yet so far, not really. I
Standard stuff?
started like 2 months ago, but yeah, I'm already learning so much. I'm such a go with the flow kind of person. I think one thing right now we're going through is like signature cocktails, and sometimes with the signature cocktail, it's like it's more of a drink where you want it to crowd please your guests. If you're I mean, you can't batch like an espresso martini. I wish we could, but also we have like little plastic cups. It's not in the martini glass. So it's more of like describing that and like guiding a guest towards that way without disappointing them. It's like, I hate saying, I can't do that, and then just end it there. I come back with options.
Yeah.
I feel like my role a lot is just providing the options. And if they don't like the options, then there's not much I can do from there.
Yeah.
But that's, I'm learning that right now.
Nice.
Yeah, I never even realized that. I guess it makes sense if you have to make a lot of them, a signature cocktail, it makes sense to be able to batch it. Yeah. And to that, like, it'd be a simple drink that everybody enjoys.
Yeah, and in my role, I don't want long lines. I don't want my guests to be standing in lines and not get their drinks. We want them to have a drink for the toasts, the whole
Like,
cocktail
this
hour.
is muddled and filtered twice and all this stuff.
Exactly that.
It's got egg whites in it, and it's got a...
Yeah,
You
what's
got
a
the
great
glam
cocktail?
bartender behind,
yeah.
like, throwing the mixers and everything.
A good one.
crazy.
Vodka lemonade, Jack and Coke. That's a
Come
great
on, let's
signature cocktail.
Yeah.
And add a garnish on it or something. Yeah,
That's perfect.
that's
A lemon.
yeah.
So keep it simple, kind of keep it...
Simple. Keep it simple.
Is there any advice you have for couples looking at venues for like Sandy Pines or any kind of venue? Like whether it be like planning their wedding or even finding a venue. What are the kind of the key things that you think they should, yes, do this and avoid this?
Yeah, I would say, like, while looking for venues, do your research too. Tour as many places as you can and leave with a quote. Get that number, and know the secret fees, or does your deposit go to your final bill? Like, that's stuff that you should know when you're touring. Come with questions, and honestly, get what you want. You don't want to look back and say, I regretted that. I did. So get what you want. Bring your parents on your tour too. It's a big decision. It's a commitment. So be sure when you're signing that contract that you don't have any questions.
Do you ever have people who book you guys who don't tour the space?
We have had in the past, they come knowing they're going to book.
Sure.
I always insist on, like, at least let me walk you through everything first. It'll make me feel better. Or we, give a tour, and then at the end of the tour, they're like, okay, we're going to book. Like, I had one the other day who was like, we're going to book. I just need next week's paycheck. Great. Come back next week.
Yeah.
And things like that. But I am pretty adamant about, let me walk you through everything first, because then at least I know I did my due diligence. And
Yeah.
And I'm covered. Like, I did my job. I showed you all
I
the
showed
things.
you
I laid it
everything,
all
yeah.
out. You still said yes.
you still said yes.
Do you have like a client or like a in your mind, like, this is our ideal kind of couple? This is our ideal, like the things that are like the green flags,
I definitely think, like, when a bride comes in and they're touring, I get more passionate about their wedding. Like, as they're describing, I'm always like, show me your Pinterest pictures. Because let's be real, we're girls. We've all had a Pinterest board since we were 12. Tell me about what you imagine your day looking like. There are weddings that I'm like, yes, I want to do this wedding. And then there are weddings that I'm like, hey, how can we elaborate on that, though?
Yeah.
How can we make that more of a Sandy Pines, like, how can we fit that theme in here in this outdoor venue?
Yeah.
Sort of thing. So, yeah, I mean, there's definitely scales of both. I don't know if I have an ideal client. Anyone who's just as excited about their wedding as I am.
Yes.
Like,
Yes. Energy is contagious.
energy is contagious. And if they're like, yeah, we're doing this because our family says we have to, then I'm like, it's going to be one of those weddings. Okay.
You don't believe in weddings?
Yeah.
Yeah. I would-
But my dad's making me and he's paying for
I'm being
it.
forced to do this.
Yeah.
I'm under duress. I'm getting married.
Literally.
Talking to excited couples is always really
It's-
refreshing.
yeah.
People that are just, they want to book, they're ready to start planning, and they know what songs they want, at least for us.
Yep.
Like, they're really fun to speak with because they have a vision and they're, show me your vision.
Yes.
Like, the theater kid in me just like, show me everything you want and I will do that. We will perform
Put
that
it together
and
for
make
you.
it happen.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, the green flag is when they're flexible, I would say, and just like willing to like get to know each other during the tours too. They're coming in questions, and one thing that we like to put into our tours is making it more personable. Ask how they met, and more of those questions that maybe other venues aren't asking. It's kind of more of the motions of here's our space, but like we're getting to know the clients first, and it's like, oh yeah, here we are. Like on top of that.
We both met our husbands on Tinder. So when it is amazing at how many couples come in and they're like, well, we met on Tinder. We're like, same. Yeah. Gotta love Tinder.
Yeah, that's awesome. Something to relate early, quick and
Yeah.
on to. And I always try and do that whenever I call couples, just like, how's the rest of planning going? You guys have all your other vendors picked out, and just connect on a more personal level. We can check all the boxes. If you want to answer the phone and like, hi, straight to business and do that, we can do that too. But I'd much rather connect with you, get to know you, and see if we would also be a good fit for your wedding. Because there are many different types of DJ styles.
Yeah.
All of our DJs DJ a little differently. And depending on who's booked, like maybe we don't have the right fit for you right now. So I just think that conversation is really nice to have first and foremost. Really get to know them as a person.
We kind of become wedding planning therapists too. I like to ask, where are you at mentally though? Like, who is it? Your mother-in-law? Is it your aunt? Who is bugging you that you need to just vent about? And that usually helps open them up. They do.
There's always someone they need to vent about.
Yeah, always.
in the wedding planning.
Always.
Yes.
And honestly, like, there's always that decision fatigue. There's just so many
Yeah.
choices that go into it. And I remember that planning mine. I just was decided out. I don't care. I don't, And then there was also like, we're inviting all these people and nobody's RSVPing. And like, are you coming or not? Like, well, I thought you would assume I would come. Like, that's why we sent you an RSVP. So we don't want to assume. We're actually
assume.
paying money for every meal. And I've got like a B and a C list of people that I could invite if I know you're not coming, And then there's always a couple crashers. Have you guys had any experiences with people that were uninvited, that were hanging out, or?
Yeah, because we're a golf course as well.
Yeah.
And we also have our overnight accommodations where golfers stay. So occasionally we'll have a few golfers come in, try and grab a free beer.
Security.
Security, yeah, that's why we have them.
It'll cost them a stroke.
Yeah. Someone coming up from the overnight accommodation, literally just, so like you have to go through the pavilion to get to the restaurant from the overnight stays. So literally, they think they're just going to sneak through.
Yeah.
But I'm like, no, there's a path around. You have to take the path around. They're like, no, we're just going to sneak through to the restaurant. I'm like, no, you're not.
We're going to have guests walk right through your room.
Yeah,
Use the
exactly.
bathroom. Yeah. Is that
They're
okay
just
with
gonna
you?
come in, use your restroom.
It's a private event going
They'll
on.
be real quick. Yeah. So things like that is our biggest.
We've had a few of those, yeah. Especially in public areas where there's just not, like in the park downtown here, it just people can walk up and, they have it kind of cordoned off, but, people can sneak in.
Yeah.
And same with like, I've been on other venues where there's like a restaurant underneath or nearby, or people were just at the beach party and now we're going to go check this out. I'm like, no, you're not.
Yep. we had a guy once came to our open bar, got 2 drinks, and then the police officer that was working security followed him to the driver's seat of his car. And so he took him
With the drinks in his hand?
with the drinks. So he took him into the restaurant, made him pay for the drinks that he just took, and then made him dump them out. I'm like, that's my favorite story, because not only did he have to pay for the drinks, he didn't even get them.
Yeah.
Because he was planning on driving
He was
home.
planning on driving with them. Yeah.
Couple drinks for the road.
Two
What the-
tree.
Why not?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Two trees. Yeah, what?
Oh my goodness.
That is insane.
I used to work banquets in a hotel, and so that's a very public space. And
Makes sense.
our banquet center, our ballroom was connected to the student union. So there were, and I was security. We didn't have security guards. I'm so glad we have security guards at Sandy
Excuse me?
Pines. Yeah, so that would be me. We once had a day where we had 3 weddings in one day.
Oh, man.
One was upstairs, one was in the north ballroom, the other was in the south ballroom. The guests, you don't know where they're going. You don't know which ones they're at.
No.
They're just all cycling through the bars. They're just
Wow.
going to each wedding back and forth. And we had our radios in. I'm like, please look out for the guy in the green shirt. He does not need to be served anymore.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Oh, when they get cut off, they go to another one.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
It's another level of drinking that I'm not aware of here.
Yeah.
Multiple venues in the same space. I hadn't even thought of that.
And then
when you
there-
get kicked out of
yeah.
one bar, you just go to the other.
They don't know yet.
Is this at IU or is this at Purdue or?
That was at Purdue.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. I went there, and then there's a hotel on campus.
Yeah.
That's what I'm referring to. And then once I graduated, I became a manager there.
Dude,
It's actually the only student-run hotel in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
I was
Really cool.
when I was in college, I was a building manager at the Union, so definitely familiar with like doing weddings and locking up this and checking on people in the rooms, drinking, and
Yeah. Where did you go to school?
at Purdue.
Oh, you were at Purdue
Yeah.
as well? Oh, so
Yeah.
you know the Union.
Oh, very well. Yeah,
Very
yeah.
well. The
Yeah, I DJ'd
tunnels.
there too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So wild, good, a small world.
Small world.
Yeah, when I heard you like North South Ball, I was like, I think it might be Purdue.
Yep.
But,
Do you still go down there?
occasionally they'll have us down there for weddings.
Yeah.
Not as much, but yeah, I've done a few.
Yeah.
It's a real neat
Because I
place.
was there mainly 2022, 2023.
Oh no, I would have been there. I think it was there 2016.
Okay.
It's the last time I DJ'd there. I was down in IU 2017, something like that. So, man, it's so crazy what you guys do because you're doing everything. You're responsible for all of the details for the outcome of the wedding and the house, and then also somehow catering. Like that's also.
I was forgetting about that part.
What are the parts that you really like about all of it, and what are the parts you're like, if I could hire this out, I would, or it's not my favorite, you know?
I would probably pass off the catering, especially now. Like we get someone's food order, 1 gluten-free, 1 dairy-free, 3 vegan, 3 vegetarian. You know what I mean? Like everyone has so many dietary restrictions, and like we do a good job of keeping track of them and making sure plates get where they need to go.
Mhm.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
That would definitely be
That's a job just by itself.
in and of itself. Yeah.
Just that, like making sure the people get set up with the right meal
yeah.
and that it's hot and ready and out at the right time.
And then I ask for as many details as possible. So like, say you have 1 vegan, please tell me what table they're at and their name. So I can say, I have a vegan meal for Sarah
Mhm.
when I bring it to the table. But it never fails. Someone will be like, actually, that looks better. Can I get
Can I
that
get
too?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
No.
They
Not
think they're
how-
getting something
Yeah.
yummier, and then they're like, ooh, well,
Yeah.
I'll take
I
the
want
grilled
what
chicken.
they have. Yeah.
I thought you were vegetarian.
Yeah. So that definitely I could just pass off. For me, it's my favorite part is, even though it means being there all day long, the actual setup
Mm.
and getting their centerpieces right, folding 200 napkins. I'll fold napkins all day, every day. Just like those little details, putting the
Yeah.
fork in the right place. Like that's my favorite part.
Decorating, just
Yeah.
just making it look
Making
beautiful.
sure
and-
everything's perfect.
Yeah, there's a reason why I wanted to just work for a venue and not go off and be the wedding planner that's going to multiple different venues, because I find it best for me that if I master one space,
Mm.
then if something goes wrong, I know how to quickly service recovery. It's like, okay, but I can do this.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like you're familiar with this, but you don't have to contact anybody. You're not just showing up to a venue as a coordinator. And of course, like that's a great thing too. But I think that there's a lot of merit in that. Is that I know this venue like the back of my hand, and if anything goes wrong, I deal with it. It's my problem. I'm the manager here. I got this. I like that.
It does change the type of stress of the work, because we go everywhere every weekend. So it's like I'm working with a different set of people every weekend, and so there's people I'm like, ooh, this is gonna be a long day, you know, when I meet them or I'm getting to know them or whatever. And they could be, you know, a vendor, they could be venue people, they could be family. They're often our guests. But yeah, so I've learned to, like, when things go wrong, it's like I'm kind of on my own. And so I have to, like, have a backup plan, a backup equipment, and have another person, and, you know, that kind of have my own version of that. But it'd be really nice to work with the same people at the same place every
Every
think
week.
about that. Not have to load cars.
Yeah, imagine
love
just
cars.
having one set up at a venue. Just always set up. Just send a DJ.
That does sound nice.
Maybe one day.
Him and I are going to do a podcast on when you request a wedding, a song, and basically the etiquette to that. And I thought it'd be interesting to hear, do you guys have like wedding guest etiquette in the back of your mind? Some do's, some don'ts, things that if you want to be a good wedding guest, you should do these things?
I could go all day.
If you want to,
I don't know. I'm sorry to say this. I don't know when like wedding guest etiquette like stopped being a thing, but it really did. And like wedding guests are entitled. Like it can be the stupidest thing, like them wanting a different plate than what they ordered.
Yeah.
Or we often have, so we don't give out to-go boxes because we'd be giving out 200 to-go boxes a night and that'd be ridiculous. So instead, they're going to wrap their food in their cloth napkin and they're going to steal our cloth napkin. Like, it's the ridiculous
and that's
things
on
that
you.
we've seen.
That's
right.
your fault.
That is my
You're
fault,
making
yeah.
me steal from you
You're
because
forcing me to steal.
Can't Napoleon Dynamite just put right in the pocket?
Right
it's a
in the
wedding.
pocket.
It's a wedding. It's not a
some of your
restaurant.
talks.
Yeah.
And you're not paying for it.
You didn't pay for the food. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like, I'm sorry, you can't take your steak bones home to your dog this time. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
You're not putting it in my napkin in your purse.
Yeah, definitely ask before you can take a centerpiece too.
Yeah.
The florist may need their vase back, or that is our centerpiece and it's not for sale.
Yeah, we just set those out. We need those back.
Yeah.
the wedding tomorrow needs those actually.
Yeah, but I think more in the past it was more like customary to like the guests can take home a centerpiece. At bridal showers, I feel like that's more of a thing.
Yeah, I've
at
seen that. They
weddings.
like raffle them off too to couples. I've seen that. Or I've also seen like at the end of the night, like the bride will specifically say like, take your centerpieces home.
Yeah.
We made them. Someone take them.
Yeah,
But yeah.
definitely ask before.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say also don't cuss at the bartenders. It's not their fault. No shots at weddings. I feel like that's more along the boards of all banquets. That's not just something.
They're also the only person there that can like deny you service.
Yeah.
So if you want to cuss at your bartender, good luck getting no drinks the rest of
Yeah.
the night too.
You're done.
You're just cut off.
Yeah, I have been cussed at as a banquet bartender, and I stood my ground. And all I had to do was call my manager behind me to stand by me, and it just didn't stop.
Yeah.
Like, I can give you ice in it. And they're like, we don't want ice. Like, okay.
It's not a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's not a
It's
restaurant.
not how it works.
And I always tell people, like brides, they think they need to have this vast open bar with everything their guests could possibly want to imagine. But when I go to an open bar, if I want like a White Claw and they don't have White Claws, I'm going to just get something they do have.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to ruin my night. It's still
They shouldn't. It's
an
still
open
free.
bar. Yeah, it's
the
still
price is
free.
It's still a free bar.
It's a
Like,
free bar. Yeah, you don't need to cover everything that your guests might possibly drink.
I agree. Just get some beers.
Beer, wine,
Beer, wine.
standard.
Yeah. Vodka, whiskey. Boom.
Yeah, that's all they need, really. That's all we go through, really.
Yeah.
I've also seen wedding guests, like, if there's a candle, like, what can we start on fire here?
Oh my
Like,
goodness.
that seems to be a game people
Just
play.
burn stuff.
Just stick a napkin in the fire for fun.
Just see
Just to see.
if this will burn.
Will this burn? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a big one. Is just like making sure that you remember that this is like somebody's house. Like, this is a nice place. Like, you don't get to steal stuff, break stuff. Like, you don't treat it with respect. Treat it nice. And also, this is somebody's wedding. Have some decorum. Keep your shirt on.
Yeah.
You know,
That's a big one.
I get excited that you're having a good time and you want to have a good time, but it's not Mardi Gras. Like, there's rules. Even Mardi Gras has rules. The police will arrest you. You know, there's still some
There's
rules
rules.
at Mardi Gras. Like, it's just not anarchy. People act like if you put a tie on that you can just do whatever you want.
And it can end up on your forehead. And
It's insane. And then, yeah, just remember how you treat people. It's like, it's still a person. Like,
Yeah.
the bartender, the DJs, that we deal a lot with the drunken guests. And so it's like, that to me is why I have to use the word etiquette. It's just like, you're not acting right. You're not
Yeah.
behaving right. Part of it is you're drinking, but most of it is you're entitled. And you think that I should be able to hear the songs I want to hear. And I'm like, well, you are not the bride or groom. You are not their family or whatever. Even if you are, it's not a restaurant. You don't get to just place your order and then we bring it out exactly to your liking.
Yeah.
We're not touch tunes.
No, yeah, we
We're
had
not touch tunes.
we had some woman who's like wanted the song. I was like, no problem. We played it, and then she wanted it again
No.
because she was in the bathroom, and I was like, no,
Yeah.
it's not
Fuck
my.
you.
my problem.
Yeah. And it's just people make it about them, and then she's trying to hunt down the bride and groom to get them to force me to play it again. She was unsuccessful, but
I will admit, I did ask my DJ to play a song twice at my wedding.
you're the bride. That's
But
fine.
it was for my niece. Have you heard of the church clap?
Yeah.
So
Lecrae, right?
yeah, she messed it up the first time and she just wanted a second shot at it. So I was like, you gotta do it again.
If a kid's
She's
involved,
8,
I almost
like-
always will play it twice.
And that's what he said. He's like, if it's a kid, I'll do it.
Yeah. A grown woman, no. It's,
a kid or the couple. Or
Yeah.
They usually come up together,
it.
the kid and the couple. Like, can you, for him one more time?
Yeah. I'm like, look at that face.
Look at that face.
It's just the idea that like they can't have fun otherwise.
Yeah.
I just want to hear that song, and if I don't hear it, then I'm not going to have fun. I always talk about like being on the couple's team. Like this is their wedding, you're there to celebrate with them. Make it fun for them. Be all in. Like dance, eat the food, compliment them. Like sign the guest book, bring a gift. Like dress up. Like have a good time. Take lots of photos on the photo booth or whatever. Like help the couple have a good time. Encourage them that you're having fun. And don't make it about you.
Especially $30,000 later. Like,
Yeah, like definitely don't make it about you. Make it
yeah,
about the
make
couple.
it about them. Yeah.
Yeah.
I really take issue with anybody who treats, especially any member of the staff or vendors, they just like, they treat you like you're less. And that to me is just so wrong. Like, it's okay to ask for things, but if you're polite, like that's the woof. That's how you get far with me anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
there's a good way to ask for stuff. And when it comes to songs, when it comes to any requests at a wedding, I mean, if you can get to it, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a good way to just save yourself there. It's like you come up with a song request that even I don't like, or if I do like it, if you just say, if you can make it in,
Yeah.
perfect. That's like the only couple words that I need from you to know that you're not a dickhead. It's just like, just tell me that. Just
Yeah.
if you can get to it, it's okay.
Yeah.
If not, it's totally fine. But here's my song. I'd like to hear it. I always respect that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. We just deal with a lot of rude people.
Valid.
so.
Yeah.
What's your closing process like once the wedding's over? What kind of communication do you have with the bride and groom after?
Yeah. Just text, emails.
Yeah, a couple follow-ups, just like, hey, we had a great time with your guests. Can you leave a review? We'll send them the links and everything, but that's typically it.
Yeah.
How about you guys? Is there a lot of follow-up after? What does that look like?
I always put a thank you card in their card box.
Yes,
Nice.
I was gonna mention that.
You got one?
I don't
Because
really
sometimes I
remember,
forget.
but that's something I want to do because
Yeah.
the next morning, opening up all your cards,
And then I do slip in there a little leave us a review.
Nice.
Like,
well, everything's fun and fresh on the mind.
Yeah.
It's the best time to put a review. But yes,
Agreed.
putting a thank you card in their gift box, I feel like does a lot.
That's a good call.
After my wedding, Something Blue, or the one by Something Blue, they sent me this necklace, and I've been wearing it ever since.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just 'cause?
After the
Just-
wedding.
That's
Yeah,
really
after
nice.
Just a
everything
nice
was
little-
done. Yeah. And I think that it really meant a lot. I mean, who knows? This might have been just like a misprint. It says Mrs., but you can like hardly tell. But the fact that it was sent to me after, it's like
Yeah.
a thank you.
That's
I haven't
really
taken it
nice.
off.
That's really cool.
And it's a story you tell. I
Yeah.
mean, you would recommend them to other people. I
I
mean,
sure would. Yeah.
yeah, that's really nice.
We do have these kits we give out, especially when it's hot, that have like fans in them and like little snacks and treats. It's kind of like a day of like emergency box.
seen
Oh,
those.
that's fun.
And the whole thing is a cooler. So we'll do those, but we usually bring those and give them to the couple at the venue, like just to start the day. We usually go find where the bride's getting ready or the groom's getting ready and that kind of thing. We'll give it to them.
Got some treats, fans,
Some treats.
waters.
Yeah, it's mostly just a thank you. kind of-
Survival box.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
bring me treats this season.
Okay.
I'm pregnant.
We'll bring you a box.
Yeah, I think
I need
one
it.
thing my DJ did on my wedding day is they brought me my first drink of the night. It was like right during family photos when I needed it the most.
Nice.
Yeah.
And I won't forget that. Isaiah and I, my husband, we both remember that. It was our signature cocktails too.
Very nice.
I
That's
love
something
to do
we
that.
try and do
I love
during.
to do that too. Can I get you some? Or just bring
Yes.
it instead of
Just bring
asking,
it,
just
yeah.
bringing something.
I like to
Water.
do that during dinner when they shut down the bar.
Mm.
Because if you go up and you're like, it's for the bride and
Yeah.
groom,
Yeah.
they will still make you the drink.
Yeah.
I'm the DJ. It's not for me. It's for the bride and groom.
And then you down one like, that was for me.
It was for me.
I liked you,
I
but
need
this one
another.
really is. I need another. You have to trust me this time.
You have to trust me. But yeah, I always find that they appreciate that, and even if they decline it, they're like, "That's so sweet. We thank
Yeah.
you for asking."
The gesture.
Yeah.
You know, you guys are a venue, so you do have a lot of like influence on like recommend. These are people we love to work with. Do you have a process to get people on your list? Do you have things that you're looking for, things you want to avoid when it comes to recommended vendors?
I don't know if I do this right, but I always think like, okay, who do I want to work with for the day? Like,
Yes.
who's going to make my job easier? And who am I going to be able to be like, okay, I don't need to babysit them. Or I don't need to worry about them keeping on timeline. So we do have like,
Especially when things are stressful and things
Yeah.
get out of control and you have to handle this other thing. I need to know that
Can
they're doing
I-
their job.
yeah,
I don't have to be on them.
exactly.
It's one
So
less
that's-
person you have to coordinate.
Right.
It's just one less person,
Right.
And potentially
Like-
the whole timeline too. If the
Yeah.
DJ can guide everybody where they need to be, that takes a whole job off your guys' shoulders.
And if someone's been there, like a DJ who has been at Sandy Pines 20 times this year already, they know my routine. They know how
Yes.
I'm going to want food
Salads,
to come
then
out. Yeah.
then speeches,
Yes, exactly. See, he knows.
checking in with everybody, make sure
Yeah.
everybody's happy. I don't know. I think there's a lot of, and I've seen it too, where there's a lot of like really talented people. They're like really good at what they do, but they're bad at that part of it.
Yeah.
They're like, man, you're the most amazing. You can mix music. Like, you're just so good at being a DJ, but you're really bad. You're very difficult to get along with. You're very unprofessional, or you have terrible communication skills.
Yep.
And or like, yeah, that to me, that's just a crucial part that I think some people miss. To be a vendor, like at a place, like you want to be someone who's. And I try to literally train my staff. We just had a training last weekend, and was like, this is really important. It's actually probably more important than
important.
yeah,
Yeah.
than being good at mixing, in my opinion. And pick a good song and be easy to work with. Do you guys have things? I don't know if you had any crazy stories working with vendors that was just like, what are you doing? This is some wild thing.
Without naming names.
Yes, yeah.
Unless you want to.
yeah.
I did have a DJ last year. He showed up at 4 for a 4:30 ceremony. And I will admit, I know nothing about your DJ setups.
Sure.
But he pulled out a desktop and like set up a whole little monitor computer, and it was time consuming setup. But he showed up a half hour before. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to send him down the aisle. You ready? And he was like, I'm ready. And I'm like, okay. Gave him the signal to play the song. Nothing. So then I had to walk over there, and I was like, are you actually ready? Yeah, I'm ready. So I gave him the signal again. Nothing. I'm like, I don't know what he's waiting for. Maybe once he sees people walking, he'll start it, which thankfully it was what he was waiting for. He was
so
still
funny.
Just like you're
setting
pointing.
up.
What do you think
Follow
you're
the
pointing at
cue.
it
Like
for?
I was just like, what's up, dude?
Go. Sup.
Just checking you out.
I don't. Yeah, and then
That
he's
is
still
so
setting
funny.
stuff up during the ceremony, and I'm like, that's just a red flag.
Yeah.
Unprofessional.
Yeah,
Doesn't
you
sound like
weren't
he was
done.
equipped properly, and
Yeah,
didn't have really good communication. Understand what
Yeah.
you're.
And if you know your setup's bigger, even if you have a desktop, whatever. I mean,
Right.
that's a lot
I don't know
anyway.
anything
But
about it.
even if you do, don't you know to show up 2 hours early and just
Right.
like if you need the time to just do it. If your setup is bigger and more time sensitive, give yourself the time.
yeah.
What else are you
for
doing
sure.
that day?
For
The
sure.
wedding is going to take up the last 10 hours of your day. What are you doing in the 3 hours in the morning you're up?
And
I'm sorry.
I think I
but-
still have the text. I texted him, and I was like, "Where you at?"
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Uh,
The guests
red,
are here.
red flag. He's not a pro.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not a pro.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it every weekend. Doesn't do it for a
Right.
living. Yeah. It's a DIY
Yeah.
DJ.
I've shared this story with Carly, but this was at the hotel. We had a family friend DJ, like live band kind of thing, and didn't come prepared to like MC the event kind of thing.
Okay.
Luckily, it was a buffet, but by the time the grand entrance came, he looked at me, he's like, you want to do it? I'm like, oh, okay, I will, sure. So I lined up everybody, and here I am on stage with the mic.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sure you killed
All
it.
the servers, I'm looking at them in the back, they're dying laughing. Like, Kelly's on stage with the mic. Like, Oh my gosh. But I was not prepared. I was put on the spot,
Wow.
but somehow did it.
Great.
Yeah.
Intros are a crazy thing to get put on the spot for.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's just-
I announced the bride and the groom.
wow.
Yeah.
Killed
And
it.
then had to segue into the dads giving the prayer, the
Yeah.
speech. And then I said, okay, it's time for dinner. We'll have you and you go. Because luckily it was a buffet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got to explain releasing tables and that we'd go around to do that. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Added that to the resume. It was a little, I got a little sweaty.
Talk about
Yeah, I
not
bet.
being your job and then just
Yeah.
going above and beyond. That's, oh, wow.
So that taught me, because I was really early on in my thing. But let's compare timelines, shall we? Let's compare what you're gonna do here, what we're gonna do there.
For sure.
Yeah, I will always find the vendors beforehand and just make sure we're all on the same page. We're all working off the same BEO or whatnot. So yeah, that was a good one.
That is so
Yeah,
wild.
that's crazy.
That was also a wedding 2 days before Christmas, and that was 2023. While there was a ginormous snowstorm that came through Indiana. I don't know if you remember that, but like they shut down all the roads.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so half their guests couldn't come to the wedding. That was a really tough one. But us working at a hotel, we didn't have guests staying there anyway. Who was going to come to travel in the middle of like Christmas time, like right before Christmas time? So I connected with the GM asking, can we have the guests stay the night even if they didn't book a room? She's like, yeah. Like pricing or our reputation.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot to them there. They still only had like half the people show up.
Ooh, that's hard though. It's especially like with everything that happened, but also it being like a Christmas Day wedding. Because I've had like a December 26th type wedding, and I think it's really hard because you're getting together for Thanksgiving, end of November. You're also getting together potentially with your family for Christmas. So like you're traveling there. If the venue is in a different spot, like if you're traveling across Indiana for that, then you have to go to Ohio to see your family the next day for Christmas Eve, and then you have to see your spouse's family in Montana, and you have to fly. It can be a whole
That is
thing.
a
And
lot.
unfortunately, like around weddings, I find that whether or not people are gonna miss, like people are just gonna not show up to the wedding. Just there's a lot going on. They've traveled a lot recently, and I find that's a really hard time to have a wedding.
Or they show up, but they're not really there because
Yeah.
they're not dancing. They're exhausted.
They leave early.
They just want to chill. Yeah. We have
New
that a
Year's
lot.
is in a
With,
few days. We need to
Oh, yeah.
revitalize.
yes. We have that a lot with, holiday weddings, like especially around Thanksgiving. And it's just like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then we're doing a wedding Saturday, and they're peopled out. They're exhausted. They're not going to be big dancing. If you want a full dance floor, don't plan your wedding the Saturday of Thanksgiving. It's just that
Yeah.
Yeah.
leading up to, everyone's traveling. It's just, in my opinion, it never goes an epic way that it should, that you're hoping it will, because everyone's together. Why not? We'll always be off for anniversary. Okay. People probably are not going to rage dancing because they're exhausted and they're peopled out. It's a lot of emotional, psychological energy that goes into being a guest. And when you've already drained that from being a family member and doing all of the things.
Yeah, that's why I love that our wedding season is like May through October, because at my previous property, we were just go, go, go all the time. We had New Year's weddings, and that was, you have to communicate that way ahead of time. Like, can I request off New Year's? Nope, it's a blackout day. Everyone's working. You're like, okay.
Okay. I wanted to ask, how long do you guys take bookings? Like it being an outdoor venue, like will you take bookings in November if someone wants to do it, or is October the cut? Or
I always say I'll work it if you want to do it, but also you might not want to do it. So make it their idea not to do it.
yeah, fair.
But because even our first one is May 4th this year, and then our last one last year was October 26th. And even that is chilly.
It snowed on Halloween before.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be really
Like,
cold.
Yeah. We did have someone adamant about a New Year's Eve wedding in the pavilion this past year. And they ended up not doing it, thankfully, because I don't like being cold. But
I don't think they will either. Or their
yeah,
guests,
like we have heaters, but they can only do so much. We were willing to do it, but I don't know that it's a good idea.
Not ideal.
Yeah. It affects things in a way that is uncontrollable.
Right.
You can't guarantee the same quality because it's not going to work with you.
I had someone come up to me one time and literally a wedding guest. He was like, "Can I take your picture?" And I was like, "What?"
Why?
And he was like, "I've just never seen anyone like bartending in a parka before." I was like, "Okay, I'm cold. What do you want from me?"
That's funny.
Yeah, I'll DJ in parka. I don't prefer it.
Yeah.
Any advice for couples planning the wedding? They've already booked with their venue, or let's say they booked with you. Any advice for how to make the most of that experience?
My biggest advice would be to like take advantage of our perfectly curated preferred vendor list. Like we put it together for a reason, not just for fun. Like, because you want people who are going to work together to make your dream day come true. Not, I don't want to say butt heads, but like not vendors who are going to be like,
Show up 30 minutes before with the
yeah,
desktop.
who are going to
We're all on the same team.
half-heartedly, yeah,
And we should be.
play for themselves, yeah,
Yeah, we don't need people like that
yeah.
around. And we don't like working with people like that. either.
No.
It's like we're all here to do the same job, and it's to make the couple's day.
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yeah. So that's definitely my biggest piece of advice. Utilize your resources.
My advice would be take it all in because it's the fastest day of your life. And I can't believe I was married almost 7 months ago. Like in my head I can't believe it myself. But also, yes, it's my wedding day. It's also a 6-hour party.
Yep.
Yeah.
I tell every couple I speak with to take your time. I know that it's all going so fast. We're planning everything so fast, and your wedding's in a month. It's going to be on you in a day, and it's going to be over in 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, really take a moment to take it all in and really enjoy yourselves at the wedding. Because some couples are so focused on, like, is everything going right? Is it going so smoothly? Just have the party. Everything should be going right. If you have trust in the vendors that you chose and everybody's just doing their job, nothing should go wrong for the couple. It should just be a smooth day where they don't hear about any of the issues anyway.
Right.
If like we have an issue and I need to go back to storage to get something, I wouldn't tell the couple that.
Right.
Like they would never need to know any of that. And photographers, same thing. If they forget a lens, they can go grab it. And the couple never needs to know. No stress needs to go on them that day.
Yeah, I'll notice that Carly starts to share some things. I'm like, I don't want to know what happened on my wedding day. I don't want to know the behind the scenes.
I don't know anything that happened on your day.
Yeah, I forgot to give the vendor card. I had ordered the meals, but I didn't give you the vendor card. So we didn't know what they were eating
They
the day
figured
of.
it out. They figured it
Yeah,
out.
the
I was just
photographer.
feed them what's left anyway.
Yeah.
And she ran up to me. She's like,
is
we
the
don't
way.
have food. I'm like, yeah, you do. You definitely have food. I definitely made sure of that.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah,
a lot of
that
those
was
kind
my
of things,
fault, yeah.
but yeah, they're never going to tell you day of. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We always do. I usually do that as literally a question when I'm interviewing people. I give them like scenarios and ask what they would do, and it's like they're supposed to give you a meal, but they didn't. What do you do? And if they're like, well, I go talk to the bride, I'm like, I can't hire you. I can't hire you. You think that's a good idea?
You starve.
Yeah, but it's the show must go on, right? It's
Right. Let's go on.
Exactly.
And
Party.
well, thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Well, yeah, I'm Mike,
I'm Joe.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm Carly.
and we'll see you at your wedding.
Awesome.
Thanks
Have a
so
good
much.
one.